Hello and welcome back to Game 13 of the Fide World Chess Championship match. Now the games are getting closer and we are heading towards choosing who is going to win. So the game was very tough today. We had Gukesh play with the white pieces and Ding was playing with the black pieces. Gukesh played overall very solid game. He did not go very aggressive. He had a very positional game throughout the match. So the game starts with a French defense, a classical variation of the Stinitz variation. Uh, the game is very balanced at this moment. We see very good development by Ding and Gukesh. Ding plays very positional. We have some normal moves, some basic moves, until we see a very brilliant move by Gukesh, which is attacking the rook, and now he gets a lot of advantage here. You can see that eval bar goes up to 0.5. He has a bit of advantage, and he plays the moves he can. But then Gukesh starts to think a lot, and Ding, on the other hand, plays very positional. So the game continues. We see very balanced. Gukesh doesn't want to go for trades or a draw. You can see Gukesh trying his best to get a win here. But then the moves are not really obvious, how to win it, how to win the match, because uh, the game is very solid and positional, and it's very tough. The time available to the players, they have to make correct choices at the correct time. So it's very tough. Uh, Even when I was playing the match, looking at the match, I was really left in a shock at this position because the end game was really tough. You could see that both had the same number of pawns, but all the same pieces, except that white had a knight and black had a bishop. And it was a very tough match throughout the end game. Uh, Maybe it could convert into a win for Gukesh at some point, like uh, getting the queen off the board, but then that will also lead to a draw. So he wasn't going for those moves. Also, here you can see the moves suggested by the engine. They are not really common moves. He won't suggest moving. He won't move some of the moves engine suggests, and in such a positional game, you're not even thinking like a supercomputer would, because supercomputer is evaluating just based on its calculations. I do feel at the start, Gukesh had a point where he could go for Queen G4. Even the engine was saying Queen G4 is a very good option, but Gukesh insisted that maybe that wasn't the best move. He thought about the idea, but then it wasn't really practical for Gukesh to go to Queen G4. Then maybe Gukesh, if he spotted the Queen G4, he could have gone for a win. So instead, the game just continues. We see some repetition of moves, and the game ends with a draw. Tomorrow, it's going to be another game. Let's see who wins. If it's a draw, people are predicting it's going to be a very quick draw, and so they can move to rapid games, and rapid games would decide who is going to win. But my prediction is for tomorrow that maybe Ding's going to win because Ding is chilling, and Ding has the white pieces tomorrow. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's move to the analysis board and let's see what could be done differently. Okay, so moving here, we see a lot of moves. We had total of 68 moves before going for a drop. Here we see a very interesting imposant move. It's just not a very good move, but I mean, in a championship, you go for an imposant. That's that increases your aura, to be honest. Uh, but the game is really balanced. And then we see a brilliant move here. The game continues. Let me show you the Queen G4 move, which could be beneficial for Gukesh. Okay, so here, if you see, you have the option for moving Queen to E2. Queen to G4. And that would be a very good position for white. You have the attacking squares here. It's very open. You have all these diagonals to move in. You have the knight as well. You have the bishop lined up. You have another knight that can come in. And it's just a very well positioned place. You have your pawn defended with the bishop. It's like a chain. So in later on the game, you can bring in the knight or maybe long castle. So it's just a very good position for white, but instead of suggested move, which is queen to g4, he doesn't go for that and he moves knight to e2. That also ruins his advantage. the computer won't tell you that it's not a it ruins the game, but as a human, it ruined the game. You end up with a draw. You end up with a bad position to play with. It gets really complicated and it's really tough to play. For Stockfish, it's easy to play. It's just calculating moves. But for a human, it's really tough to play in such a position. So probably yeah. And here with the brilliant move uh, he went for a very quick bishop trade here. He he went for it. Now this he had a very good position. He could keep the bishop on this diagonal. He had this diagonal here. He had this, so it was a massive threat. So he could have kept the bishop, but he went for a very early trade. I don't know why he did that, and I mean that also ruins a bit advantage for him. So yeah, here Ding starts playing like a supercomputer, going with the best moves. Avoiding any threats, any checkmates, no attacks. White is trying to attack. Black is doing some inaccuracies. For example, here Rook E7, it says moving at six or at six. Now White doesn't know what to play. I mean, he can. It's more easy to blunder in these moves. So the players play safe. That's why they end up usually with a draw. Here in the end game, we see brilliant moves by both the players. I was watching the end game in my class. It was good. I mean, some moves maybe I felt like could have been different. Like here, uh, he could push this here with the intention that whenever, I mean, the piece reaches here, you have more defense here. Gukesh tried everything, but maybe he li- left some opportunities. Like he got this brilliant move here. He had chances to, keep this bishop on this diagonal, but he went for an early sacrifice. So, yeah, I mean, this was a very positional game. Out of all the 13 games, this was the most positional game. And tomorrow we'll see what happens in the game. I'll see you tomorrow with another analysis and probably telling you the winner if there is someone who wins. Till that, take care, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts below in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.